I want to start this episode sort of setting it up, laying the land, and understanding the perspective in which this is coming from. Now, when most, let's just say people, which includes professionals and non-professionals, when they are talking about lower back pain, they will generally speak about lower back pain as one topic. So they will say, you have lower back pain, this is what you need to do. You have lower back pain, if someone is saying this, this is wrong. Now, what we have to understand first is what are the different types of lower back pain, because if we start understanding that there are different types of lower back pain, what we can then start to understand is that there are different triggers. And if there are different triggers, there are different rehabilitation methods or processes. So what should be happening is, if you have this type of lower back pain, this is going to be a more effective approach. If you have this type of lower back pain, this will be a more effective approach. Now, again, it's not even as simple as that. There are more nuances to those. But if we just come from, you have this thing called lower back pain, you need to strengthen your lower back pain, or you need to strengthen your lower back, or you need to take your lower back through end ranges of movement and then strengthen those end ranges of movement, that's too simplistic a model, because there is not a lower back pain. There are lots of different types of lower back pain. So if we can come from that understanding, we can start to build a better model for rehabilitation. So we can't just throw everyone into the same bucket and say, right, strengthen your lower back through the end ranges and your lower back will be healed, because that's just not the case. So as an example, what types of lower back pain are there? Well, there is a stenosis, which is a narrowing of the canal. There is a spondylolisthesis, which is where a vertebra slips. There is a disc herniation, where the disc bulge, the fluid within the disc comes out. There is a disc bulge, which is a slightly, let's just say, lesser injury than a disc herniation, because the fluid is only bulging and it hasn't fully herniated out. There is sciatica, where the pain goes down the leg, which can come from a disc herniation. So there are lots of different types of lower back pain, and all these different types will have certain markers and symptoms and triggers to them. Some of the lower back pain, you could have the same type of lower back pain, but the triggers are different. So as an example, some people may have flexion intolerant spines and they can't manage sitting. Some people can manage sitting, but they can't manage standing. Some people can manage walking and some people can't manage walking. So again, we've got this puzzle that we're trying to work out. So we might have a type of lower back pain that we understand because it's shown up on an MRI scan. There's a report, you can see it on the image. The disc has bulged at L4, L5, and you know you've got a disc bulge there because you can see it on the MRI scan or on the sort of report that gets written, and it's like, right, okay, I've got a disc herniation, what now? Well, these people could have different triggers. Like I said, someone can tolerate sitting, someone might not be able to tolerate sitting with a disc herniation. Someone may be able to tolerate standing, some people might not. Some people may be able to tolerate certain exercises, some people may not. So not only have we got the diagnosis of a disc bulge or a disc herniation or a stenosis or a spondylolisthesis or a sciatica or whatever it may be, not only have we got that diagnosis, but we've then got the different movement habits of the people and the different tolerance of those movement habits and the different triggers that come out. So we've got these different layers. So there's sort of understandings that we can get. Okay, we've got a disc herniation. Well, a disc herniation, and we'll talk about this in a little bit more depth, is generally caused by flexion extension cycles, depending on where the herniation comes out of the disc. So it's not going to be advantageous to go into flexion and extension cycles. So we need to try and maintain a proper posture of the spine. So that's sort of like the first layer. Then we've got the movement habit layer, the sitting, the standing, the walking, the different types of exercise. We need to be able to navigate our way through that. So not only do we know the general principle of how we can make a disc herniation or disc bulge worse, we've then got to understand all the different movement habits that come with it and see if they line up with that. So we've got to understand that. So I guess to finish off this sort of section, we can't, just to summarise what we've talked about, we can't just lump everyone into you've got lower back pain. What we've got to be able to do is be able to divide them up into what type of lower back pain have you got. What we can then do is understand from a general perspective the mechanisms of those types of injuries and the different movement triggers that people have got. Because over here we've got one, and over here we've got the injury mechanism, over here we've got the movement habits, and we've got to try and put those together so it sort of becomes one rehabilitation process, and that's going to be different for everyone depending on the injury and the movement habits. So again, that's like a little algorithm or a little puzzle that we need to work out. So hopefully that gives you a better understanding of the lay of the land. So what types of lower back pain are there? What type of lower back pain have you got? Or what type of lower back pain has a patient or a client got? So you can then start to investigate not only the diagnosis of it, but also their movement habits as well.